What's free to me is free to be exactly me, to say out loud just what I think. That's free to me. I'm free to dream. It brings relief and peace in me. That's free to me. That's free to me. 'Cause honesty, the energy, it has to be divinity. That's love in me. 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 The only way. The only way. The only way.
That is going to be on my new album, obviously. It's called What's Free to Me. It's free to me. Roby is in the building. Good morning. I have to go to access the damage on the property. Oh man, okay, I got you. Yeah, today's gonna be I don't know what today is going to be as far as the views and stuff, but I'm not worried about that. Thank you for coming by, Roby. Hindsight is 2020. So when it comes to a lot of these topics, I like to just let some of the information accumulate instead of trying to keep up with every grain of information on the fly. That can be dangerous, and I'm going to show you why in a second. But also, I don't know if our brains are supposed to be computing this much information at this rate, if that makes sense. Right? There's so much information coming at you, and this could be to exhaust your cognition. It could be a exercise to mentally exhaust you, which will ultimately lead to physical fatigue. I want to take a look at what we're doing. How's it going in Iran? How's it going in Iran? A lot of stories out here. One of the stories I do want to cover is, did the U.S. really drop bombs on the graffiti that Iran had painted on the floor of their F-22 bombers? And allegedly the United States were looking from satellite. They thought they were real planes, and they had dropped some very expensive bombs. That's the report that's going around. I'm going to dig a little bit into it. I've seen a couple of other things. So we're going to jump around, and I think we're going to end with, I want to talk about the FDA director. FDA scientist who was put in charge of vaccines, he is resigning. Most of us know what resigning means. It's especially when it's impromptu. It's a polite way of being pushed out. Why? Well, I want to take a look at that. Most of the publications have reported it. Whether they're going to tell the truth or not, it's a different thing. But we have our logic and we have our reason. Welcome to society, past, present, and future. My name is Jamel Saladin. I am a sociologist. I got my bachelor's in sociology. I got my master's in information systems. But I love sociology way. I love social studies way more. We'll actually start with China. China has gave us an exhibition of what they can actually do with some drones. 10,000 drones. I think they might have set the world record for using these drones. But here's the thing. These drones have... I'm going to show you a video, but some of you guys are driving, and I just want to let you know what they utilize these drones for and what I think we were going to use the drones for. And I brought this up the other day. These drones have these beautiful holographic depictions in the sky. I'm going to show you. But stay woke. Stay vigilant. You understand? Do not fall asleep at the wheel, I assure you. If you're ever unsure, come over here and tap in with your boy. Now, you're going to be nervous because you're going to hear things that you don't hear everywhere else. I'm talking about extraterrestrial life, this, that, and the other. Don't lose your cool, baby. Stay cool. Don't lose your cool. You know who also talks about extraterrestrial life? The Bible. You're just not... It's how you're computing. It's how the message is given to you. Don't worry about it. You're going to hear me talk about reptilians. You know who's also talking about reptilians? The Bible. Yeah. First conversation that takes place outside of Yahweh himself and the Elohim is Eve and a snake. Don't worry about none of that stuff. I would not steer you the wrong way. If we do not have these conversations, it's harder for you to understand what's actually going on because no one is giving you galactic history. You need galactic education in your life. You don't even know what that means right now. You're like, galactic education? What does that mean? Yo, you over here talking about some space nonsense? No, I'm talking about real life. Believe it or not. Real life. I'm not talking about nonsense at all. Nonsense is is you sticking your head in the sand and acting like these things don't exist. And then when they do come out in files, you're like, oh my God, they were drinking blood. Bro, what do you think vampires do? What do you think vampires... I was telling you they was drinking blood and eating flesh just like you do every month, once a month in a ritual at your church. You didn't want to hear that because you was offended. Okay. That's a you... Sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. But if you're seriously trying to decipher this thing, tap in with your boy. Hit the like button. Stop acting funny with your I don't need your likes, but stop acting funny though. Let the algorithm know that we here having a conversation. Hit the subscribe button, and we're gonna get into this right now. I want to start with China. Hopefully they don't show any commercials because I'm not in the mood for your commercial nonsense.
This is 10,197 drones taking to the sky. The record attempt took place at Shenzhen Bay Park by a multi-Guinness World Record title holder Demode, a leading company in drone shows within China.
Now, first of all, I don't know what we're doing over here. We're bugging out. We are bugging. We are not. And when I say we're bugging, I mean, let me be very specific. The United States is not pushing not only our young people, but us as individuals to be better. And I have brought this up so many times. It seems like we're the enemy to our own United States. And if it doesn't feel like that to you, I don't know. Right? And I'm not doing bad in life, so it's not like I'm disgruntled. I'm actually pretty pleased with how things are. However, I'm watching, I can't be the only one free. I can't be the only one, not under attack. If my people are under attack, and virtually we are all under attack. And if you don't believe that, then again, your head is just in the sand, because it may not be in the physical form that you're attacking me, but it is a psychological attack. It is definitely a biological attack. We'll get into it. But I would love to have seen our children push more intellectually. Me having a child she's going to high school, and actually, I'm very proud of my baby. She is on her way to a university right now who accepted her for early acceptance program. I'm so proud of her. Yes, I live in a house with my child. Don't worry about why I didn't go. She's on her way right now. I'm so proud of her. She's only in 8th grade, right? But we work. And I'm going to be very honest with you. There's a reason that the Elohim gave us certain instructions. Be fruitful and multiply. But also, there was a reason they made us man and female, right? And there's also a reason for 2 parents. So I'm not coming down on anybody today. A lot of time, I don't know if people turn because they feel like I'm judging them. No. But if we knew better, then we do better, right? And maybe if we didn't do better, maybe for the next generation, they're going to do better. So we teach them what? To be very honest. Don't get out here and have loose sex. Yeah, sex is going to be fun this time, the third. Don't do it, because you can end up having a child with somebody that's not your partner, that you not really, you understand? And trust me that generational curses just reoccur. They just keep on happening if you don't stop it. So say you did do that, and then you know the truth. Come on. So don't try to stop it the next generation. At least explain to them, listen, don't do that. Try to find somebody it's all in here. I don't even have religion. But I'm going to tell you something. It's in here. They tell you to try to get somebody compatible with you. Right? These are the laws to mating. The rules to mating. We fell away from all of these things because there is a different species on this planet that many don't want to talk about, many don't acknowledge. It's cool. They're trying to get you to do everything out of order. Everything out of order, and see it as normal. Now, I don't even think that I have to push too hard for you to see that. Anything that is natural, anything that is, it makes sense mathematically, scientifically, naturally, divinely, they gonna reverse it. And they're going to normalize that behavior, and then we wonder why we have chaos in the world. But if our government was to prioritize and say, nah, because it don't take that much. I watch India do it. I watch China do it. It don't take that much to instill inspiration in your people. Don't send me a check for $600 and demoralize me the moment you give it to me. Right? You got these people over here. You don't make them feel like they are actually American citizens. That's the first thing you need to do. Eradicate any division. That you want to call out something, then get rid of racism altogether in the culture. I'm not crazy that you could get rid of racism, but the same way you stood up for trannies is the same way you should be standing up for people hating other people because of their race, and you supporting it. And the United States have been passively aggressive on the hate of others because of their skin color. That's a problem. We're all, if we all have our papers and we're all citizens, then this is going to be a problem for the solidarity of the nation, because we need that morality, right? We need that boost of confidence as one people of a nation. But let's be honest, is that what they want? It has been decisive, this nation, and it seems like it's still going in that direction, sadly. So how are we to come together, right? Things are totally out of whack. I want to have a show today about so many different conversations, because it seems like 4 or 5 different dimensions are displaying themselves as you take every step. It's like, what is going on? That's how it feels to everybody. What is going on? Pete Hegseth, it has become, and he's like a raging. You're different. He's different. He's different. Everybody's different, right? Trump, I don't know what they have on him. Obviously something bad, because if you look at the first administration, he was the only person who literally brought peace to the Middle East. And I remember bragging about that. Like, yo, how'd you bring peace to the Middle East when we were over there for so many years fighting the boogeyman? So when people say, "Oh yeah, but you voted for him," it wasn't hard to vote for him because of what he displayed the first time and what he was talking about the second time. It wasn't hard, let's be honest. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I do think they have something very embarrassing on him, something very devastating, because he's acting irregular. Like, people don't do this. People don't turn their back on their nation out of nowhere after fighting so hard to bring everybody together. That's not normal. So I think they've broken him. Let's get back to the Chinese and how impressive their intelligence, their display of their intelligence. I don't know what's going on politically. I can't tell you what's going on with communism in their country and all of these things. I can tell you, and we're going to talk about it, they have some pretty impressive weaponry. I think I was looking up one of their missiles recently, something like the F-17, something like that. I was looking up their ballistic missiles. Woof. We're going to get into it because Iran got some heat. I don't know why we thought, well, maybe it was just me. I thought Iran was similar to like Afghanistan, right? Where we had to give them some rusty AKs and then they started feeling themselves a little bit. No, sir. After looking into a couple of things, I found out Pakistan has nukes. India has nukes. I'm still trying to figure out why the United States does not want Iran to have nukes. I mean, I know, and we'll talk about it now why you don't, because you fumbled in the 50s when you got involved in their politics and tried to overthrow their government. But we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about all of that. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Yeah. You mess with the beast in the 50s, and you know they're not going to forget that. So now you're telling everyone, oh, they chant death to America all the time. But you're not telling everybody what you did. So that's like a toddler saying, he bothered me first. He bothered me. But you're not saying you went over there and kicked him in the face, and that's why he's bothering you. Again, tell your people that. But you're not, because, and that's what I don't like. Keeping us in the dark. So you're not trying to unify us. You're not trying to make us better, and you're lying to us. This is not going well, America. But you want us to have the patriotism, the ultimate patriotism. It's delusional. It's delusional.
Yeah, 起飞。
Despite setting the record the week prior with 7,578 drones, Demode decided to attempt the record again with even more drones. Every single drone in this attempt was controlled by one single computer.
Every single drone that you're seeing right now was controlled by one single computer. So let me explain something to my religious people. And I know there's not much I'm going to be able to say. Hold on one second. Let me see something. Real quick. Let me put the chat over here, because I like to see when people leave when I say what I say. Right? People, when you say something they don't want to hear, they bounce. That's that cognitive dissonance. How you going to learn? Let me tell you something what your Bible say. Your Bible say, my people perish for lack of knowledge. How you going to leave because you don't want to hear the knowledge? It's crazy talk, my friend. It's absolutely crazy talk, because it's going against something you said. All right, hold on one second. Cool. Put that back up there. I like to see the people, because I want to, hold on. There we go. All right. Listen to me. This is going to be hard for you to hear. But I want you to listen to their language, and I want you to listen to what I'm about to tell you. A few days ago, President Trump must have had a meeting with the generals, because the generals across several military bases had almost the same exact conversation with their troops, and that this was a Christian war. I think it was inappropriate to have that speech with the troops, because you don't know who was going to demoralize, because not everyone believes in Christianity, but mostly everybody there hopefully believes in the United States of America. That doesn't mean they have to have the same God. And I think for you to even include that was just, it was not smart. It was not smart. You don't know who you triggered. And the last thing you need right now, while Iran is tactfully and strategically taking out your radars, and we'll get into all of that. So they're deconstructing your offense. You didn't think Iran would have the ability to do it, right? Because you expected China probably to get in on the action a certain way. I don't think the United States thought that maybe these people have been planning for 5-10 years and the weapons have been coming to Iran past maybe over the last 10 years. So maybe they have everything that they need. Now, we know they did not start this altercation. We know this is the instigation of Israel. And because whatever Mossad has on President Trump, he has illegally, and when I say illegally, he did not come before Congress and ask them for any type of budget for us to go to war. We did not vote on this. We did not. He just got us involved. So I don't want to see any stupid trolls in the comments. I'm not entertaining your nonsense. We have a process in the United States, and he circumvented that process, and which is hypocritical, because the main reason I say keep ICE is not to shoot our own citizens in the face and kill them. It's not why I'm saying that, right? So everyone is all emotional because these incompetent people cannot carry out a simple derivative in operation. It's like, go find the people who don't belong here and get them out of here. That's it. But you don't. There has to be SOPs. There have to be standard operating procedures. There have to be a way to do this that is at least civil. And the fact that we can't do that without shooting our own citizens in the face is, we're off to a rocky start. It doesn't mean that we don't need ICE. Or we need ICE because the United States just did something that, and this is why I say it's two feathers on the same bird. They worked an audible on us. And let me say what I believe. I believe that the first administration made it so chaotic that you had no choice but to. They basically told you gotta vote for him. Do not vote for us again, right? Because this is the script. But guess what? We're gonna force your hand. We're gonna do so much crazy stuff that we're gonna force your hand. It's not even gonna be a question who you're gonna vote for. Either you're not gonna vote at all, or you're gonna vote for him. You're not gonna vote for her. Even she helped, right? She used to speak this word salad. It was perfect word salad. And the moment she lost the campaign, she was talking English again. I seen on interviews, and I was like, "Damn, Kamala, I didn't even know you could talk English. You are quite the orator." Jesus. We did exactly what they wanted us to do, because they put us in a pretty crazy position. Whatever thought I was on, I'll come back to it. Project Bluebeam. That's where I was at. Thank you, China. Project Bluebeam. So, Donald Trump comes on the other day and he says, "Listen, everybody, this is a Christian war." He mentions the return of Jesus. The moment he mentions the return of Jesus, I'm like, wow. Right? And remember, this is what I originally thought, and I told you this the last video. I thought the first time they was testing their drones, it was just like last summer. Maybe the summer before that. What was I doing last summer? Either the last summer or the summer before that. No. It wasn't last summer. It was summer before that. All these drones in the sky. I went out. I think it started in Jersey. That's where I first seen him. That's where I went out there. My doctor called me out to his house. Beautiful house. What up, Doc? He watches the show every now and again. I know my a lot of people, they keep their distance because my I am not politically correct. If you have not heard, I am impolitically correct, to be more exact. Because that's what the world needs. The last thing we need is people being more politically correct, and that's how people get over on you, right? So no one's going to talk about the Ashkenazis because it's not politically correct. I'm talking about the Ashkenazis because they're causing a lot of issues, right? Now, is it fair to all the Ashkenazis? No, but I'm not blaming all the Ashkenazis. I'm blaming their administration, their leaders. But also, you are to blame too if you don't acknowledge your true history and your true identity. You are kind of to blame too, right? That's not politically correct. You're running around identifying as another nation that you have no genetic connection to. Oh, I'm going to talk about it. And people don't like that. So, therefore, I'm a hard drink to swallow. You understand? It's just, that's just what it is. I would say I have no filter, but I learned to have a filter. I stopped trolling so much. So I have a filter, but there's only so much I'm going to filter. Now, getting back to this Project Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam had already been announced. So it was kind of hard for them to, I do think they wanted to set off the Project Bluebeam with the return of Jesus. But if they do it now, we already talking about it in Reddit, and we already talking about it on TikTok. Like, everybody knows about your Project Bluebeam now. So Project Bluebeam is kind of shot out the sky. It's not going to hit the same. And if you do it, it's only going to further the conspiracy theorist community. Because let me tell you something. The conspiracy theory community is winning. We're not losing. We haven't lost yet. We haven't lost yet. Even when it looked like you got us on the fritz, right? And it's like, oh, they was over there talking about pizza. And then what happened? Look at God. Won't he do it? Pop right out in the files. Pizza everywhere. Crazy. Really? Jerky? Really? So, I'm thinking about the adrenochrome mass creation. They had adrenochrome. There was mass producing adrenochrome, right? And China was in on this. I don't want you to think one nation is better than the other because this one is more technically advanced. This is where your galactic history has to come into play. You have to learn galactic history. You have to get an understanding of it. You're not going to really get it in too many places. There's not a lot of channels really talking about it, right? Now there's more channels, and start out to, I think, Myth Vision, that's what they call. There's more channels starting to talk about the biblical histories and the religious histories, borrowing, I like to say plagiarizing, from the older civilizations, which is good because we need that exposed. And when you do that, then you can't help but to look at the galactic history. It's going to force you to look at the galactic. It's in here, first of all. First of all. Like, I'm not lying to you. Genesis, first chapter, 26th verse. It tells you that the powerful ones, right? Because they're talking about gods. So the first thing you should be offended at is that they lied to you off the rip by replacing the word Elohim with God. That's number one, right? No, don't be mad at me. Just deal with that cognitive dissonance for a second. Like, what are you saying right now? I'm not saying more than they replaced a plural word for a singular word. That's all I'm saying. You deal with it with your pastor and do with yourself, and you do what you need to do with that. Or you could stuff it deep down inside like you've been doing. See how that's been working for you. Yeah, you cram that way down inside. But when you come back to the surface, guess what's going to be there? The word Elohim should still be there. And you know how I know? And you know how you know? Because it makes more sense when you say, and the powerful one said, let us make man in our image. Hey, that works way better than one God having schizophrenia, does it? But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here what they tried to pull on you, Project Bluebeam. Your boy Trump decided to address the army about Jesus. I don't know what he's going on and on about. He was in prayer at Turning Point. That whole Turning Point looks chaotic the more you dig into that. I don't even want to go into that. But my personal assessment is that Charlie Kirk was no longer valuable to Israel, to the United States. If you can't be used, you're useless. I always tell my people that. I tell my daughter that. If you can't be used, you're useless. Teach your sons and daughters that. If you can't be used, you're useless. Now, don't take that in a negative connotation. I don't want your daughter to be used as some, you understand? That's not what we're talking about. But we're talking about, how can I use a skill that you have? Do you know something that I don't know? Do you know how to do something that is in need that most people can't do? Right? Can you clean out the elbow under the sink? Can you change my oil? Can you fix this light bulb? If you can't be used, you're useless. Charlie Kirk, if you can't really drive inspiration for Israel, you understand? You was doing it for America when you was out here passively aggressive supporting racism. That's why I didn't forget. You understand? I don't rock with Charlie Kirk. I'm not politically correct. I've told you that already. I don't care nothing about wherever he's at. If you can't handle that, that's on you, right? But I seen what he was doing. He was running around indoctrinating these children at a critical time. They had just left high school. They get into college. They're still finding themselves. Right? The person that goes into this freshman year of college is not the same person when they graduate as a senior of college. They're not. They're way more mature most of the times. They're just excited young pups in the beginning, running around ready to catch VD. That's it. Charlie Kirk was ready to give them mental VD. Right? He had the money to back him. Who knows if he was flying the red hat boys out there, handing out red hats everywhere. Every time I look in the video, the boys got the red hats on. But it wasn't how the homosexuals say, it wasn't given. It wasn't given solidarity. It wasn't given make America great again. What it was given was white nationalism. That's what it was given. And this is coming from somebody who pretty much likes to stay objective. I like to try to remind myself, stay balanced, stay cool, playboy. Don't be going off the rails. No. I'm watching, I'm seeing what's going on. And I just think it was real deplorable the way you indoctrinate these young people to make black people look a certain way. When you know that's not our entire demographics, man. And there are some of us that do things that are not civilized and, but the way, when I hear Charlie Kirk concentrate on these points as if that was what was making America weaker, I say you an agent of destruction. and an agent of mass distraction, just like Nick Fuentes, who wants to take up for PDFers, huh? He's over there saying, yeah, it's not like she was, huh? Young, but how young is young? It's not like she was 5, you know what I'm saying? Nope. I see where you at with it. I remember when he didn't exactly know what happened to Nick, to Charlie Kirk yet. Oh, he was so nervous. He was ready to give his life to the Lord, the real Lord, right? And his fake business. And then I guess they brought him into the fold and he was back to regular old Nick again on the nonsense. Now, let me get to it. Project Bluebeam, I don't think it's gonna happen. But anyway, because we're too busy. We don't have the ability to fight Iran, right? We're dealing with all type of stuff at home. It's too many fires that we need to put out and create a vision of Jesus in the sky without them making a mistake and it being on Twitter that this was all some type of fiasco to trick the American people. They're not going to be able to do it. They're just not. So what I seen China do with these drones were very impressive. And the fact that they could do these with, obviously these are novelty drones, right? But if they could do this with novelty drones, what is the world going to come to? And is the United States ready for any type of weaponry drones? Like, are we ready for that? Look what they could do.
The aerial display and record attempt was made to celebrate the 75th National Day of People's Republic of China.
Amazing. Amazing. With one... Look. This is amazing. We've moved on from fireworks. Matter of fact, if 4th of July is not looking like this, pack it up. Pack it up. Never mind your gunpowder and all this other nonsense. I want to see a display like this. They don't value true science and math over here. And this is going back to... Do I have the book here? No, I have it in my truck. But I also have the audio book out. So what I want everybody to do is this. I have the audio book out. Rockefeller Medicine Men. Go to audible.com and I have Rockefeller Medicine Men, the first edition. And in that book, you will hear how our education system was hijacked and philanthropy was weaponized. You're going to hear that. Right? You have to have the understanding of what's really going on. But they've gone too far. Because I think there should have been some type of middle ground when it came to de-educating us or just suppressing knowledge, in my opinion, is going way too far. And unless a child is truly loved and is in a comfortable spot, it's very hard for that child to learn, be attracted to learning, right? We're in a very difficult space culture-wise in the United States, where I don't need to be in China to see that the culture of China is different when it comes to education. The culture of India is different when it comes to education. It's cultural. They want their people to be better. The United States is fixated on the citizens not being as intelligent, so they do not see everything that they're doing to keep their people suppressed. Why would they want to suppress? It doesn't make sense. It does make sense when you consider the old blood, the old elite, not wanting to stop making money on antiquated technology, antiquated fuel sources, right? We want to keep doing things we were doing in the 1800s, because the people who still make money off of these things, they're still bringing in the bag. So they don't want to. I mean, just the last term, I was confused because Trump, when Trump first got in office, he was like, "Yo, we're gonna push coal," and I was so upset. But I'm like, you know what? Let me pick my battles. He's doing some things right. If he wants to dig for coal, whatever. He wants to push coal. All right, let me just pick my battles. Then he came back, and he was still talking coal with the conversation. I said, "Oh my God, this. Who are your friends? Who are these elite that you have golf and tea time with that are telling you, no, we need to keep these things in place?" That's why America has become weaker and weaker and weaker. Outside of the fact that you say you were going to do a bunch of things that you never did, that doesn't matter, right? So that's the display right there that they were going to use for your Jesus coming back. Just to let you know, I'm not in the mood to get into Jesus right now. Whether he's coming back for you or not. You're only going to leave if I tell you. You're only going to leave if I tell you what I'm really thinking. All right? So let's just move on to the next topic. How about that? How about those apples? Let's deal with the FDA vaccine regulator resigning. And this is in today's article for the New York Times. Dr. Vinay Prasad refusal to accept Moderna's application for the new mRNA flu vaccine, prompting an uproar among companies and experts. This is Uncle Andy, what's good with you, man? Uncle Andy said he's on the replay. All right, cool, man. Yeah. Uncle Andy was Star-Seeded history indeed. And this is where galactic history, we need to be informed, right? You have to have a galactic education, because if you did have a galactic education, then it wouldn't sound so crazy to you or unbelievable to you when someone tries to tell you why they're trying to get in your DNA, right? Why they were trying to edit your DNA. The Bible speaks of a time. It tells one story of creation. But in fact, if you go through this book of Genesis, you will find many different stories from a older Mesopotamian culture. The more you read Mesopotamian culture, the more you will understand that human upgrades were talked about. This is in way more detail than how they simplified it here. And I would like to believe that the humanoids on this planet have had over 22 upgrades within the last 50,000 years. Now, that may sound crazy to you, but before you turn and you say, that sounds crazy, I'm not talking about this. But before you do that, what are they trying to do to you right now? Right? They definitely, obviously, want to incorporate nanotechnology in you. Moderna's first vaccine for the COVID-19, they put on their website and they called it an operating system. I kid you not. I kid you not. So, again, I think you want to deal with your own cognitive dissonance when it comes to new information. You have to be able to accept that, hey, I don't accept new information that well. That's fine. But it's going to hurt you by not acknowledging it more than it's going to help you. Now, what's really going to help you is once you do acknowledge, like, wait, they are trying to tamper with my DNA and my anatomy. Duh, I told you that. Question is why? How many times have they done this before? Countless. Yeah. They've done this before. So because this doctor, and shout out to him, because this, hold on, what's going on here? All right. Because this doctor did not want to play ball. There's something he's seen. Maybe he signed an NDA that he cannot speak about, and maybe he wouldn't anyway, right? A lot of these people, they wouldn't tell you anyway. His actions, if you have any type of logic and reason, you can just clearly see he did not agree with something that Moderna, and he may be fearful for his life. You understand? These people have a lot of money. So you got to think about it. If the music industry gave a couple of rappers a few $1 million and they were running around like they built America with their own two hands, right? You had Bad Boy out here. You had Death Row. Every record label was running around like they built the United States with their own two hands and they could get away with it, whatever they wanted. That's play money. What would happen? What do you think is going to happen to the guy who has a pharmaceutical company? What do you think is going to happen to the guy who has an enormous contract for weapons? How is he going to act? What happens to the people who can have a meeting with a Senate or a Congress person, offer them some money, show them something, a picture or something of them in a compromising position? I don't think we're considering all of these things when we consider our United States. Our United States is buck wild, off the hook, out of control. For plenty of reasons, but mainly because of greed and ideologies, fringe ideologies, right? People over here saying that my topics are fringe. Oh, you over there talking about galactic aliens and all that. Bro, What do you think? You think that's fringe? The people who got money that you can't see, but they are clearly funding these agendas, certain movements. You don't know what they believe in. It's just that I'm on the internet as a podcaster, as a social media influencer, being very transparent. These people are hiding behind the veil of shell corporations, phony organizations, and they get to use philanthropy as a weapon to strengthen their ideas. So then later on, you finding out people are missing. You don't know why. You thinking it's some ragtag gang with no organization. Really, that's what you think? And why are they missing again? What is adrenochrome? And why do they need adrenochrome? Why does Ellen DeGeneres look like that again? Has she had her fix? Her blood fusion? Who taught you to get a blood fusion? Never mind that. That is conspiracy theory. Let's get into this. And I could play it, but I don't.
Rising figure at the Food and Drug Administration, who oversaw vaccines, is leaving the agency at the end of April, according to a Health and Human Services spokesman. As the agency's chief science and medical officer, Dr. Prasad had wide-ranging authority over vaccines, drugs, and gene therapies. He issued several controversial decisions, including overruling career scientists on some vaccine approvals and cracking down on a biotech company linked to 2 teenagers' deaths. In one of the most highly publicized moves, Dr. Prasad refused to accept Moderna's application for a new mRNA flu vaccine, causing an uproar among companies and some experts who complained he was too often moving the goalposts on studies that had been oked by the agency. Within days, Dr. Marty Makary, the agency's commissioner, reversed the decision after the company agreed to conduct another study.
So it doesn't matter, like I said before, someone is always going to be there to sell us out. Hold on, I'm looking for this doctor. Here we go. Within days, Dr. Marty Makary, the agency's commissioner, reversed the decision after the company agreed to conduct another study. Because he was paid. Because he's either acquainted with somebody there. Why'd you do that favor? Marty. That's you? Martin Adele Makary is a British-American surgeon, professor, author, medical commentator who has served on the 27th Commissioner of Food and Drugs since 2025. Oh, man. He was born in United Kingdom. Maybe it's not a good thing that everyone has citizenship to the United States. Because it is real easy to say that you're American. But that could be just a cover up. And maybe your heart is still with another nation. But bigger than that, man, there are some people who have actual lineage here, actually history here, right? Their family They can go back generations and tell you how long their families have been here, man. And these people, I do think, bleed red, white, and blue. And they have a different sentiment for the United States. Now, my thing is this. It's where are the protocols in place to make sure that our United States is preserved by these people? There is none, right? So some schmuck gets to come over here, get a green card within 6 months. He's the head of some very important departments who make very important decisions on our behalf. Only he's really in the pocket of the pharmaceutical companies, of the capitalists. Oh boy. Anyway, I don't know what you're going to do with that information, because that's not what my show is about. But I wanted you to have that information. What you do with it, I don't know. You may file it away because that may come out later on. I just felt like that bit of information was being overshadowed because of the Iranian conversation. Let us move on to another commentator I want to listen to. Give me a second. 1 second, everybody. Can you hit the like button if you're in the building? You just got here. Alright, here we go. Let's take a listen to my boy Glenn Greenwald.
In that regard, because I know there's so much resistance. Here's a 2023 op-ed that J.D. Vance wrote in the Wall Street Journal announcing why he was supporting President Trump, why President Trump would be his presidential candidate in 2024. This is obviously in the middle of we're not even before the Republican primary began. So J.D. Vance said, my candidate for 2024 is Donald Trump. And he focused on foreign policy, and the headline of this.
Win says, do you think WW3 will happen? WW3 looks like it's already initiated. I don't know how you put Iran back in the bottle. I don't know how you do that. I don't know. Right? It would take a lot to do that. And I don't know if they're gonna win. I don't know. But I do believe, to answer your question, it has already started. I just don't think it looked anything like what we thought it was gonna look like. We thought that Israel was gonna attack Iran, and the United States had all this power behind it, and it was gonna just help them squash it out real quick, right? And then, China was gonna send in troops, and then Russia was going to send in troops, and then all of America's allies was going to send in troops. Maybe it doesn't happen like that. Maybe China just says, hold off. We prepared for this day. We knew this day was going to come, right? So just follow the protocol. Take out the bases first.
This op-ed was Trump's best foreign policy, not starting any wars.
Now, this is Glenn basically bringing up why most of us that did vote for Trump voted for Trump. It's not like it was all in our head, or it's a multi-dimensional Mandela effect going on. No. Trump was talking about not starting any wars. J.D. Vance says, he has my support in 2024 because I know he won't recklessly send Americans to fight overseas. Whoa! And yet,
and then underneath that, he said, he has my support in 2024 because I know he won't recklessly send Americans to fight overseas. Here is David Sachs, who became a big Trump donor from Silicon Valley. He serves in the administration as the czar for artificial intelligence and crypto. And here is what David Sachs said. This is back in March of 2025 when neocons were pushing the Trump administration to go to war with Iran. This is when people like Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson started sounding the alarm about how serious this neocon and Israeli pressure was to drive the United States into a new war with Iran. Many people within MAGA spoke up. David Sachs was one of them. And here's what he said, quote, "What did removing Saddam, Gaddafi, Assad get us? Chaos, civil war, genocide. The rule for regime change operations in the Middle East is that they don't flip a country from good to bad. They flip a country from bad to worse."
Yeah.
Anyone can say whatever they want now to justify this new war. This was the MAGA consensus for 10 years. I mean, there's too many examples for me to show you, but here's another one. This is from Tulsi Gabbard, who became a big Trump supporter in 2024. She's now his director of national intelligence. By all accounts, she tried to put a roadblock between Trump and Iran and Trump and Israel during the first bombing campaign in 2025. She went to testify before the Senate in April of 2025 and said the consensus of the intelligence community is that Iran is not on a path to trying to acquire a nuclear weapon, which the opposite claim became Trump's primary argument for bombing Iran. And when confronted by that, Trump said, "I don't care what Tulsi Gabbard thinks. I don't care what she says."
Hold on. I think that's crazy. I think that's wild and crazy that he brought all these people on and basically it was a ruse the entire time. Only person that left there was Dan Bongino. Let me see if I can look that up. Tulsi Gabbard testifying.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Supreme Leader Khamenei has not authorized the nuclear weapons program that he suspended in 2003.
How close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having one.
Damn. Hold up, Trump. You are Trump. You are wildin'. Where are we at if the director for national intelligence cannot give intelligence that is deemed credible by her superiors? And not for nothing, I believe Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Winter, what's up? Good morning, Winter.
Says she's just the director of national intelligence. Here's what she was saying in the weeks leading up to the 2024 election. Quote, a vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Dick Cheney. And a vote for war, war, and more war. Oh no, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want to vote for Dick Cheney and a vote for war, war, and more war. You certainly don't want that. Don't vote for Kamala because that's what you're going to get. But instead, a vote for Donald Trump is a vote to end wars, not start them. We are at a historic crossroads. Our God-given rights are under attack. Now is the time for us to stand together for love of country and for Donald Trump to get us back on the path to peace, freedom, and prosperity. I mean, this was the explicit theme emphasized over and over and over. I want to remind you of something that happened that I think a lot of people have forgotten. It occurred in the week leading up to the 2024 election, maybe about 8 or 9 days prior. Trump was...
Uncle Andy had to go. Well, I think he said he had to go. I don't know if he actually went, but I think he had to go, Winter.
At a campaign stop on stage, he was being interviewed by Tucker Carlson. And Trump made comments about Liz Cheney because Liz Cheney was campaigning alongside Kamala Harris in Michigan and other places. Both her father, Dick Cheney, former Vice President Dick Cheney, the symbol of neocon warmongering, and his daughter Liz Cheney, also a symbol of neocon warmongering, were campaigning for Kamala Harris. Liz was campaigning for him. Dick had endorsed her. And they emphasized it wasn't just because of January 6th. It was because of their belief that Kamala's foreign policy was more aligned with their foreign policy view. And Trump went on stage and made comments about Liz Cheney that were very similar to comments that I have heard all sorts of liberals make about the Cheneys over the years, but it got radically distorted by CNN and a bunch of Democrats and Liz Cheney herself to try and imply that Trump was like threatening Liz Cheney with firing squad, with execution by firing squad. When what he was actually saying was the reason Washington is filled with so many sociopathic warmongers who casually send people off to war is because they're never the ones who have to go and fight in those wars, nor is their family. And if they did have to, they'd probably sing a different tune. Here's what he said.
And with his daughter, but his daughter is a very dumb individual, very dumb. She's a radical war hawk. Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. But she's a stupid person. And
yeah, they're all war hawks. It's so easy to be a war hawk when you're sitting in a building, safe distance away, when you have never fought in a war, your family never fought in a war, your sons never fought in a war, your daughters never did, like the Cheney family, like the Trump family, both Dick Cheney and Donald Trump did everything possible, jumped through every hoop to avoid fighting in the Vietnam War, even though they were prime fighting age in the 1960s, even though they were supporters of the Vietnam War, let other people go and fight and die for them, continued to do that throughout their whole career. Trump's critique of Liz Cheney, although obscenely distorted by the media into a threat to execute Liz Cheney by firing squad, was exactly correct. Washington is filled with a bunch of warmongering psychopaths who don't treat war with the gravity it merits because they're never the ones whose families are at risk from it.
First Avenger says 92,000 more jobs lost in February. I heard that. Hard to take all this winning. Yeah, I just got that number either last night or this morning. That number came across my desk. Not for nothing. I was telling the American people for like 2 years, not because I heard it from an angel, unless you consider Peter Schiff an angel, but I listened to the Peter Schiff podcast, and he was the one to teach me that the United States comes out with a job report every month. They also come out with a revision of the report the next month. When he showed the disparities of the numbers that were off, it wasn't like, oh, this is just a small mistake, a minor error. They were off by tens of thousands to the to the tune of 100,000 a month. They were wrong. It would be like 92,000 off, 82,000 off, right? So I told everybody. So when they made the announcement in what, October, November of 2025, that they were off by 911,000 jobs. They miscalculated. Oh, you want to use these soft word terms with me? It was miscalculated. Did somebody make a boo-boo? Here, let me help you fix it. Don't worry about it, man. It ain't that serious, man. This could happen to anybody, man. And yet, y'all really think we in a position to go to war with the intellectually confident, competent people of Asia and Asia Minor? In the Middle East? Y'all bugging. These people are competent for a reason, because their government has supported them. And intelligence. No, I want you to go into this field and figure out everything and then use it for us to protect ourselves. Our greed has got us into trouble. There was a time in America, and this is where I thought he was going when he said make America great again. I wasn't worried about no white nationalist conversation. I didn't care about none of that. I heard him talking about manufacturing, bringing jobs back to America, and I know it's nostalgic, but I come from an era where, I still remember going out to eat with my family and we turning over certain things. We go to Friendlies, right? And you turn over something, the ashtray, and it say made in America. You couldn't look anywhere without it saying made in America. And that was a big deal to us. And then slowly, everything was not made here. And then to hear Eisenhower's warning against privatizing the military, and then our own weapons aren't made in America, and the ones that are made, it's like some type of contract so the other person can get rich. Does it take $1 billion to build what you're building? Knock it off. Without me even know, I'm going to say it doesn't cost $1 billion. It doesn't have to cost $1 billion. I don't even know the information. I don't need to know the information. It's kind of like these machines in the doctor's office. You cannot tell me these prices aren't inflated. They're just inflated prices, man. Please don't go through the details of, this. I don't care. You have several machines in here that cost millions of dollars, which it's going to offset the price of the service that you're giving to other people. So this really boils down to greed. It's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. Now, getting back to the weapons. Because we care so much more than... We care more about greed. I mean, there's another way for me to paint... put makeup on a pig, but that has affected the frequency of manufacturing for certain things, right? So whereas it may have taken 6 weeks to build something, maybe a fighter jet, a tank, now it's taking 6 months. What was I looking up last? I was looking up a tank. I was looking up some type of tank because I was going through the Pentagon had blacked out like $90 million of funding. Then they were forced to report and itemize what those things that they were spending money on, instead of just throwing it in a black folder and saying, "Hey, this is we can't tell you what we got the 90 million what we're spending it on." Well, they ended up telling us some things, and I looked up some of these things, and I looked up specifically it was a tank we said spent $450 million on, and I wanted to know how long it took to build, how many of us. It took 6 months to a year to build one. What are we doing? What are we doing? We're doing something wrong. Because I don't even know what we're doing. And why would I say we're doing something wrong? Because I'm looking at the other nations, and clearly they are mass producing even just as dangerous weapons as we are, faster. When I looked up that supersonic ballistic missile that Iran has right now, that breaks into like 80 other bombs, woo, what are we talking about? So we know they have underground facilities. Hold on. Cause there's something going viral. Huey, what's up? We got Boondocks in the building. Huey, what up? I didn't read his comment yet. Huey says, I learned in the 90s how untrustworthy the Trump family were. Even Tupac and Method Man spoke about it. Huey, so can you learn that in the 90s? Cool story. Sarcasm. Yeah. You gotta utilize the sarcasm. Hold on. Hold on. Shout out to the Bronx, New York in the building. Kathy, what's up? I want to show y'all something. Now, this has been going around. I can't fact check this. I'm still trying to fact check this, to be honest with you. So the backstory is that Iran painted the image of F-22s on the ground, and the United States utilized bombs ranging from 500,000 and up to blow these airplanes up. Only they weren't airplanes at all. They were actually just paint on the ground. Now, from what I'm reading, it's not that this didn't happen, because clearly nobody has denounced that this happened. So I think it happened. Even Grok did not denounce that it happened. I don't know if it happened right now. They're saying this happened earlier in July. Right? So, the United States was out here thinking they was doing something, and you didn't do nothing. If that did happen, because, listen, this could have happened in July, or this could have happened recently, which means you may have fell for this same trick twice. However, at the rate we are producing and manufacturing weapons, and at the amount, you might want to be a little bit more accurate with the utilization of these weapons. But who am I? You might want to take it a little bit more serious.
Trump is now demonstrating that. Not just with this war, by the way. Let's remember that throughout 2024, Trump harshly criticized Joe Biden for bombing the Houthis in Yemen, saying it was an awful idea, completely unnecessary. All you have to do is pick up the phone and solve it diplomatically with the Houthis. Trump gets into office. One of the first things he does.
Tammy Pierce said that never. Tammy, I don't know if it never happened, but there is some talk that it didn't happen right now with the with the current situation that we're in right now with Iran. So there's a chance that it is just going viral now and is being used to make America look like imbeciles. But I think it did happen. Because I was looking for a flat out no, this didn't happen, this is AI generated. I didn't find that. Not even from Grok. I didn't find it. I heard a lot of chitter chatter with the explanation, and then it was like, oh, so you guys are not denying it. You're just saying that it didn't happen this time in 2026, but it might have happened in 2025. It's crazy. It's crazy work. Yep. Jito Planet, that is correct. Winter says, did we really even know how many missiles and things we have, considering how much we've been lied to? You make a good point, but here's the thing, Winter. This is the only thing I'm looking at, Winter, right? Because I really don't know what we have in our arsenal, but I'm looking at our greed and what I can find on the internet about how long it takes to make these weapons. So I'm basing my analysis and my just off reason and logic off of that public information that I was able to gather off of websites. I looked up some of the companies that's making weapons for America. A lot of our top weapon suppliers are not American companies. They have locations in America to make it look like these are American companies, and then when you really look into them, they're British companies, they're foreign companies. So again, this conversation about making America great again, it had so much potential, and I think all of us we just was hoping, because it made sense that we bring jobs, manufacturing back to America. It made sense that the people calling the shots and the people giving advice and direction are Americans. But it doesn't appear to be the case. Our weapon suppliers are foreign. Our consultants are foreign on financial matters, foreign, right? Our consultants for financial matters were foreign since 1910. When they called in the German Ashkenazis to give us advice on how we should restructure our economy. How'd that work out for us? Within decades, we were off the gold and silver standard. Yeah. Within decades, gold was banned. You couldn't own gold. Great.
Is orders a restarting and an escalation of Biden's bombing campaign in Yemen that he had harshly criticized throughout the 2024 campaign, only to see after a month that none of the things he was promised would happen as a result of that would actually be fulfilled. It was incredibly expensive, and this is very important, at the time, and still, we were feeding enormous amounts of weapons to Ukraine, to Israel, and then using those in defense of Israel and in Yemen, and we were depleting our stockpiles rapidly. I've had Dan Caldwell on.
David says, David in Maui. What up, David? I remember the Maui part. David in Maui says the only way to make America better is to hold corporate companies accountable. It's not going to happen. See, we've never learned from the history, right? So when we had the United Fruit Company, did you know the United States uses military for corporations during the Banana Wars? So when you set a precedent like that and you don't fix it, or you try to fix it and then the next administration comes in and they tinker around with the legalities and the red tape while no one's looking, kind of like the Dodd-Frank Act, where the Dodd-Frank Act was set and it was a big old celebration. Hey, this was never going to happen again, not under our watch. And then Trump came in and he was tinkering around. See, he didn't get rid of it. So that's where the confusion, it kind of looked like it was an illusion. He never got rid of the Dodd-Frank Act. All he did was change the threshold of the assets of that would affect the company. So if they said, like, if you had more than 50 million in assets, then you are going to be mandated to an audit and a bunch of other things, right? Well, he raised it to 250 million in assets, and now more companies could go back to what they was doing before. So the only way we could really do that, David, is to change out and swap out the politicians. Never mind the president. He can only run twice, and it would be our luck. This jackass got in this time, and they got something on him. They got something on him. He took too much money. They got something on him. And I don't know if he didn't want to go to jail or whatever the case may be, and he took the money from the widow. She gave him some money. He took some other money from some A-Rap. He was out here taking a lot of money, and I said, this is not good. I kept on saying, every time they announced, this one donated to him, I said, yeah, this is not good. They're going to want something back, bro. They're going to want your hiney back. And they did. And they did. So when they say, yo, we're going to war with or without you, and you better be there for us, come on, bro. What can you do against Mossad? If they say you better, next thing you know, you got poisoned, right? Next thing you know, Barron is missing. I don't know why Trump did it. I'm pretty sure he didn't do it. He strikes me as the type of guy, if it's him and his family against yours, he's choosing his every time. Right? So it may not have been any conspiracy theories about that Mark Epstein alluded to of him giving Bill Clinton a BJ. I don't know. I don't know if he did or didn't. I'm not saying he didn't. But I know Mossad is pretty powerful thanks to us giving them money. I mean, it's not like they powerful because on their own. We have to swap out our politicians. We have to stop the ability to be a senator. The lifetime ability to be a senator is crazy. That has to stop. That has to stop. Hit the like button, though. Hit the like button for your boy. Subscribe to the channel for me if you have not subscribed to the channel. But definitely hit the like button. You're like, yo, I'm on my phone. I don't really know how to... No. Just tap the phone, right? And then there's 3 dots that come up at the top. At the top, hit that and then hit the like button. Hit the like button for your boy. Thank you. But listen to me. Senators that can run every 6 years and win until they die are dangerous for the United States. We need some new blood in there. Right? Hit the share button for your boy one time. Hit the share button. Share this on Facebook. Share this part on Facebook. I don't know if we need to clip this up. I'm going to clip this up anyway. Clip this right on up. That being said, this show cannot be more than 2 hours if I'm going to clip it up. Our senators cannot be in office for a lifetime. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. And they are the culprits. They are the ones selling us out. They have all this diplomacy. They're involved in foreign affairs. They are the ones. Then they make this big circus act when they go to the Senate hearings and the committees as if they are so concerned. It is their constituents. It is their peers who are causing all of this, and they know it. And that's why you get people like Marjorie Greene Taylor just resigning. Enough is enough. She's talking about Tucker Carlson could be president. Check this out, Marjorie. I want to see you run. Not for nothing. I know you think they'll never let me. Yo, I want to see you running. I want to hear you talking crazy out here. I want to hear you talking about aliens. I'm listening to you, baby girl. Never mind. Look at me, Marjorie. Don't look at nobody else. Just look at me, baby. We got this. There's so many of us that think alike. But maybe she's like, yo, I know how these people play. And if I win, they'll kill me. And I don't have a response for that because I think you might be right there, Marjorie. And the last thing I want to do is lead your pretty self to your death, because these people don't play fair on this planet. If you can't be used, you're useless. You seen what happened to Charlie Kirk. Got him right up out of here. Yo, you not down with Israel no more? What you thought? You would have thought he would have been down for it. He was down for clowning black people, passively aggressive. He was down for that, but that was like the limits, right? He wasn't like, oh, come on, bro. You really, and I'm kind of dragging this whole thing. I'm already dragging it. They're like, no, he needs you to do more. What profit me a man to gain the world and lose his soul? What profited a man to gain the world and lose his soul? So you put in a good position. They even gave you a blonde-haired wife, right? There's nowhere on God's green earth, Charlie Funnyhead Kirk, and Erica was ever supposed to get together. Never, ever. So we know what that was about. This thing is bigger than Nino Brown, and it gets deep. It gets so deep.
Who worked at the highest levels of the Trump Defense Department before being fired through a fabricated leaking scandal. He worked for Pete Hegseth. He talks about this all the time, including the fact that the U.S. and Israel desperately needed to end the war with Iran last year because they were running out of anti-missile battery and other kinds of weapons that are needed both for defensive and offensive purposes. And Trump saw that we just didn't have the weapons in Yemen to fight, and he ordered after 1 month a cessation of that war, but he did restart it.
Boondock said it took her forever to wake up. It took her forever to wake up, but she's starting to get it, like a lot of people. Now, let us not forget, this is a tactic used by the Jesuits. That's why I say this thing get deep. It gets so deep that you forget that there is a group called the Jesuits out here running all type of crazy audibles where their whole strategy is to have people on both sides of the argument. That's wild. That might be the wildest strategy out of all the strategies I've heard, where you got to respect it. Like, wait a minute, you got people out here telling the truth, and you got people out here false flagging? Correct, sir. Damn. And they don't know. Right? So, as much as I'm appreciating Tucker Carlson, I got to keep in mind just a little bit. You could be a Jesuit. Can't let my eye off you right now, right? You could, because I fell for this already with Trump. He was saying all the right. He even did the right things the first term. He didn't go to war. He brought peace to the Middle East. The only person to bring peace to the Middle East his first term. It felt good. He was out here squashing qualms, right? He went to, Korea. He was able to talk to everybody. That was the funny thing. And he's like, no, Bibi listens to me. Remember he used to brag about how Bibi will listen to me. Putin, he's a pussy cat. I rock with all these cats. And then Stormy Daniels, right? They put the Democrats try to put the monkey wrench on your boy. They had cases in Atlanta. They had cases in New York. Alvin Bragg was on his heels. By the way, Alvin Bragg, he has not forgotten anything. Alvin, stay on your pivot, playboy. I know how this dude work. He just had Kash Patel fire some FBI administration that was involved in his investigation when this is 2026. Out of the clear blue sky, son went downstairs for some milk and cookies and was like, wait a minute. Forgot about these mother effers. Woke up Kash Patel and was like, yo, the dudes that was involved with that investigation. Kash was like, yeah, I want them fired tomorrow. What, sir? Click. Damn, these Orioles is good. And went back to sleep. He's a bug out like that. So, Alvin, I don't know. You down there eating at the Blue Ribbon, the Federal Barn, all like, yeah. Sometimes I like to go down there too. You understand? Shh. If you know, you know. Don't be getting out of shape. Eating all this rich food, Alvin. Huh? It's about to turn into a gray man novel for you. Stay on your pivot. Because Trump is going to turn up. He got something in place for you and Fannie Willis. Y'all was out here wilding. All I ask is, please, Trump, take it easy on my baby Fannie. She didn't mean no harm. I gotta think for these short women. Fannie Willis and Marjorie. She ain't mean nothing by it. Maybe she did, but bygones be bygones.
He obviously has spent a lot of money, a lot of military resources, a lot of missiles blowing up boats off the coast of Venezuela. And then that operation to invade Venezuela and take their leader. Obviously, none of that was part of the 2024 campaign. We bombed Iran last year with Israel. We're bombing Iran again now with Israel in a much broader and more dangerous manner. Here is what Stephen Miller had to say in the wake of controversy over Trump's comments that I just showed you about Liz Cheney. This is Stephen Miller, who is a fanatical supporter of Israel, undoubtedly a big supporter by all accounts, everything I've heard, things have reported publicly, of the attack on Iran, for and with Israel. Here's what he had to say. This was, again, right in the lead up to the 2024 election. He said, quote, "To anyone still gullible enough to fall for scummy media hoaxes, Trump said," and this is what Trump said. Trump did not say what the media falsely attributed to him, that he wanted to assassinate Liz Cheney. But what Trump did say is what Stephen Miller is about to summarize. Quote, "Warmongering neocons love sending your kids to die for wars they would never fight themselves." Liz Cheney is Kamala's top advisor. Liz wants to invade the whole Middle East. Kamala equals World War III. Trump equals peace.
At one point, he did. And I'm telling you to go back and look at his administration the first time. Like, just his efforts and what he did during his first term. There wasn't a lot of evidence that he was warmongering. But if you stay around, my peers like to call them Zionists, but that is the politically correct way of saying what we all really want to say. Now, I'm not going to say that word because so many people have been on my back. You got to stop saying this. And I felt like Kanye, but if my channel's going to grow, I guess I got to stop saying the word. Because I lost like 3 different opportunities. Because it was like, yo, I can't rock with you. You over there talking about the da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, the da-da-da-da-da is who's causing all the problems, bro. Yeah, I know, but I'm like, man. Now I got to do a spook who sat by the door routine. Now I got to do the spook who sat by the door routine. And act like I'm oblivious to these people, and it is frustrating because I'm not oblivious, and I'm pointing to, look, it's dumb, he's right there. Who has ever read Knights of the Seven Kingdom? The book, not HBO. You don't count. Well, if you've ever read Knights of the Seven Kingdom, the book, fascinating book, by Aegon Targaryen is in the book. And it goes over Sir Duncan the Tall and the tales of Sir Duncan the Tall and Aegon Targaryen. Now, obviously, there were several Aegons, so I don't know which Aegon he actually was. But when he was a little boy, he used to call him Egg, right? And he would be at these jousting matches, and he would always yell, "Get him, sir! He's right there! He's right there, sir! Get him, sir!" That's how I feel. That's how I feel when I come to these people, right? But they come up with all these different laws and rules that we can't even say the name of the group. How powerful is that? But the black man can run around and say nigga, nigga, nigga 1,000 times, and you can't even say who they are without them penalizing you, deplatforming you, debanking you, lowering your social score. Like, and the fact that I think if none of us listen to it, so it's like me and Kanye, we just out there like, yeah, we're going to do our thing. And then everybody's like, nah, I'm probably not going to do that. Well, you make us look like when you separate us like that, it's easy to beat the single ones and just shoot them off. So it's kind of like, all right, now I got to go into plan B, which was never a plan. I didn't plan on being the spook who sat by the door. But I did read the book several times by Sam Greenlee. And the movie is free on YouTube. The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Winter is giving me advice. Winter says, if you want to kill a hornet's nest, you don't go shaking the nest first. At some point, I got to listen. Even when I don't want to listen. Many people have told me this. Stop talking about them. How? They are causing all of the problems. Don't say their names. Alright.
I don't know if anyone believed that, what Stephen Miller was saying, but he was right that warmongering neocons want to send your kids constantly to fight in wars for their own benefit or the benefit of other countries that they don't have the courage to themselves fight in. But the idea that Kamala will start wars in the Middle East and Trump won't, obviously that turned out to be the opposite of the truth. Trump just started a gigantic war in Iran, with Iran in the middle of the Middle East. Here is what Charlie Kirk had to say about this. I think it's so important because, as I said, there are a lot of people. They're kind of two, generally speaking, broadly speaking, factions of MAGA. Marjorie Taylor Greene actually said this very well. One faction you can call MAGA. That's a phrase that Donald Trump himself coined, and Trump himself says MAGA means whatever I say it means. If I say one day it means no wars, then MAGA means no wars. If the next day I start a war, MAGA means you cheer for wars.
He had to say that because you know the amount of people that came over here and thought that whatever that Donald Trump did, I was gonna be with it. Like I've had people leave the channel because they was like, "Yo, I thought you were a Trumper." What the F is a Trumper, bro? I don't even know what that is, but it sounds X-rated. You understand? I don't want no parts of that debauchery. I don't know what's going on. I'm not into that culture. But I am a Make America Great Again. That's what I am. It's not that hard, right? You chose those words for a reason. It's not that hard to get down with it. Make America Great Again, bro. All this other stuff, a Trumper, no. You do something stupid, I'm going to call you out on your stupidity. You do something that's against America, I'm going to call you out. You've been doing everything against America since you took that money. Since you took that money, you have been doing everything against America, and I call you out. So, people are like, oh, man, I'm out of here. That's crazy. You will follow a man even when he changes his principles impromptu, instantly in the middle of a revolution of reconstructing America. Just one day he's the project manager on a construction site, and the next minute he walks off and was like, yo, I'm out of here. And you finally, no, I'm coming with you. Well, come on if you're coming, because I'm going to jump off a bridge. I don't care. I'm going with you, because I know you're going to be the next owner of this business. Whatever, I'm jumping off a bridge. Whatever, I'm with you. Now, we the crew are sitting there like, wait, we still have everybody we need to finish this building. We got engineers, we got laborers, we got managers, we got specialists. We got everything we need. We don't got nobody to sign off on none of this. So do we finish building Make America Great Again by ourselves? Or we don't got nobody to sign off on none of this? We need somebody to sign off, to give approval. That was supposed to be Donald Trump, to change the framework on how things was done. But guess what? To be very fair, he is an executive branch. And we can utilize our senators who, in my opinion, should not be running for a lifetime anyway. And that is the correct process that we should be going through anyway. The congressmen and the senators that make the legislation. However, things have become topsy-turvy because more and more presidents just started using executive orders to get what they want. So we the people have to stop falling for their antics of mass distraction, mass disorientation, Stop falling for these ridiculous race distractions. And utilize first what we can, which is our communication with our senators. Threaten them. Because that is what seems to work. They respond to threats and blackmail. Now, I don't know how good your blackmail is, but all you have to do to threaten them legally is let them know you will be out of that seat the next election. You will be out. We want answers. We want change. We are watching what you're voting for. Let them know. You under the eyeball. We're watching. We are watching.
And to an extent, as far as branding is concerned, Trump is right. And there are people who identify as MAGA, and by that they mean whatever Donald Trump does, that's what I support. And then there's another faction, as Marjorie Taylor Greene put it, called America First. Those are people who believe in principles, who are driven by principles, and they support Trump to the extent, and only to the extent.
America First is hard too. All of these organizations are hard because you have the face of white nationalism as the face of these organizations. America is not an all-white nation. So that needs to be fixed. That needs to be corrected. Otherwise, you won't get the solidarity. You won't get the moral support that we need. We won't get the numbers. It's only going to create more division inside of America. Listen. I would love to stay, and I would love to continue this conversation. Big Chris Entertainment. Sorry, y'all. People have been going off for me for not pronouncing the words right. I apologize. Big Chris Entertainment says America has never been punched this hard in the mouth before. This war is crazy. America is losing. It is losing right now. I don't think they have the resources, the contingency plans in place, which is kind of, and I say I don't think because I'm not in the briefing room. If I'm going off of just what the media is saying, then I think they thought this was going to be a one-day war. I think whatever happened in Venezuela made us overconfident. Right? So that the ability to go and turn out Venezuela's lights, I don't even know if that was hard to do. One time I spoke to an acquaintance of mine. He was in Venezuela at the time. I don't know if their infrastructure is that complicated, right? So to turn out their lights and then go in and get Maduro, we never mentioned what Secret Service we might have killed his bodyguards, and we never mentioned any of those things. It was like, we turned off the lights and grabbed them, and then it was like 6 Navy SEALs, which is probably possible. And you can tell Trump was really overconfident. He was bragging, we can do this to anyone at any time. Way too overconfident. We do understand that Iran is Persia, right? We do understand how many battles they have been in. We do understand the pride. Like, Persia has taken down civilizations, bro. How old is America? Let America tell it. Only from 1776, because they don't want to look at any contributions to the black slaves before that. Fine. We're used to it. No problem. You say 1776, fine. Yo, you too young to be running around. You don't have the same stories as all these other countries. They may have changed the name, but they've been around for a long time. Iran is Persia. I don't want to make this video too long, so I have to stop it. I want to go further, but I have to stop it because I'm gonna cut up the video, and when it's 3 hours, 4 hours long, it's just hard for me to do, right? So expect another video from me in a couple of days. Exactly, Winter. Winter says, "There anybody? We all watch 300. So I don't know. I mean." I don't know what we thought of Persia. I think we think they lost it. Like, really. These are the same people who allegedly gave the Hebrews their freedom the last time. And then told them to go back to Jerusalem. You can chill out. Figure it out. You guys are confused right now. You don't know what's going on. You're good. Freed you from Babylonia. Get some knowledge yourself. Watching this war, I don't know what this is going to mean for America. The gas prices are going to go up. Iran is stopping a lot of the movement of the necessary oil for certain countries where they get a majority of their oil, where they have the ability to stop the movement in their area. From what I'm hearing of some of the representatives from Iran, they're not even utilizing their most modern equipment. They sound very confident too. And this is what I look at in my closing. I look at how accurate they have been with these missiles that they do have, that they're saying is not even their most updated weaponry. If that's not your most updated weaponry, it is kind of impressive because how accurate it has been. Some reports are saying they have way more ammunition than America. So I don't know. I'm just brainstorming like all the other Americans, because we're listening to all these other podcasters who are getting their information from God knows where, right? So I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I have all the information. I've been listening to reports. I listen to the news. I listen to Iran representatives when they do come on. And I just assess all of this information that I have, and I'm like, okay, according to the information that I'm getting, United States may run out, according to our own former generals, we may run out of ammunition and the ability to keep our own vehicles fueled faster than expected. The tactics of Iran to accurately target the bases, the U.S. bases in the surrounding nations. I was looking up how far those missiles can go. Those missiles can go 1,500 miles. 1,500 miles. Then I was like, yo, bro, you're a truck driver. You know how long it takes me to drive 650 miles? So right now on the East Coast, I'm 3,000 miles away from California. So just half of that is where these missiles can go. Wicked. Now, you haven't even thrown in the other abilities, like the fact that it goes supersonically fast. So even if America did have the radar system, which Iran has strategically knocked out most of their, I heard 30%. So Iran has knocked out 30%. Let's just say that's true. I don't want to spread false information. I'm getting these from the same reports you guys are getting it from. 30% of the radar detection, you knock that out. They're hitting the bomb, the bases strategically. We're not being updated on the amount of crucial and critical bombings and attacks on these American bases. So that's going to be something. The news is going to be devastating to family members. I don't know if that they can put up a post. I don't know if it's ever going to get out because they're going to be shadow banned immediately. So where are you going to be able to tell yourself? And that's the dangerous part of technology, right? You find out your little brother, your son got hit on one of these bases. You go to let the world know, listen, there's thousands of soldiers being bought, and guess what? Nobody is seeing that video. And you think that's dangerous, right? And you get frustrated at that. Guess what? What do you think is going to happen with programmable money, right? You can't even make the right post. You can't even make a post. You thinking you about to go viral. You gonna be the only one that see that video. That's how powerful their control is. Just you. You're like, yo, nobody liked this joint. Nobody's seen that joint. What are you talking about? It's just you. Michael Wilbur says 1,500 miles in 40 minutes. So, what are they going to do with programmable money? And again, I told you guys, I don't think this is going to... I think this had a lot to do with the Belt Initiative. And I didn't think China was going to invest all that money not to protect their investment. But clearly these people have been thinking, because at the end of the day, we do act like Neanderthals. And when I say we, I really mean our administration. Why? Because they are driven by predictable things like money, blackmail, greed, power. So for other countries that don't practice this type of savagery and debauchery, they have the ability to sit back and analyze like a old athlete tape and say, see, this is what they do when they're in this position here. This is what they do. So they're probably going to do this right here. So first thing we're going to do is paint some F-22s, F-14s on the ground, right? They got us out here dropping $1 million bombs on concrete. Buffoonery. Debauchery. Tomfoolery and shenanigans all mixed in one, blended together. Knowing we have an ample amount, we have a limited amount of this ammunition that we brag about. Oh, this costs $1 billion. This costs $1 million. We have no respect for the money that we've been borrowing from these central banks. So we're really scrambling to reinstitute ourselves back in the world superpower. And like we see what's happening, but it's like we're drowning. So they removed the SWIFT international system. They call it an upgrade, whatever. The dollar won't be backing it. The dollar won't be, it won't be inspired by the US dollar right now. So I understand all of these bright minds sitting in these glass towers trying to figure out, all right, how do we win this? So all your think tanks, your RAND corporations, and y'all don't amount to nothing, because most of y'all are greedy, just greedy individuals that was really preying on the American citizens. But you preyed so long on the American citizens as a business. That was your business model, to believe it or not. When you really internalize and analyze how it was set up in America, just the framework, the economic framework, the operational framework, it was really preying on American citizens from the giddy up. Right? And we've all, us conspiracy theorists have always said this, but the way we said it was, look, we are assets in the portfolio of America. From the day that you are born, you are given a social, well, eventually you'll get a social security number. But even before that, you get a birth certificate and you get a docket number. That's a placeholder. Right? Then they're going to file for your social security number. We got you. So now they can make loan applications to the central bank based off the amount of potential that they have in this one portfolio called American citizenship. Right? So all these things are considered how much money they're actually going to be able to make off of one individual. So whether we're talking about the fees we have to pay for, just from you leaving the hospital, there's going to be some fees, right? You start off this world, some fees. Right? Then you're going to have to go to school. In order for you to go to school, you're going to have to get what? You're going to have to get inoculation, more fees, more money, more services. Preying on who? The people. It's always, right? Your mother got to walk in that building. Where does she got to park the car? She got to park the car at the meter. She got to pay for it. More money. It's always going to be money to be made off of one individual. Now we got 350. This is how they've been winning. And this is why they keep on getting the money. Because the central bank says, well, as long as you got people being born, we should be good. But now we've outgrown that framework. We did not have, it was a deplorable idea. It was a diabolical idea, not deplorable. It was a diabolical idea, but it could have sustained if individuals weren't so greedy. So I don't think they thought that the amount of rogue politicians and rogue players would just go off and do their own thing and say, yo, well, I'm going to grab like Mr. Beast. You could have just took what was yours, but you say, you know what? I think I'm on like 600. Get in here and get mine. And I guess because all of these different individuals feel like, well, I'm just one individual. Me taking something is not going to affect the whole America. Yeah, but if it's like 100,000 y'all of doing this. 100,000 taking millions at a time here. 100,000 more, and it's more than 100,000. 100,000 mismanaging funds all across America. 100,000 workers, 100,000 state workers, 100,000 federal. I'm just putting all of the workers and admin and the bureaucracies all together. Mismanaging funds, right? You got to think about the small towns who get that annual budget from the government, and then they're just doing God knows what in that town, right? Families who are big in that town. They've become politicians, and they've sit on this board here, and they learn how to cipher money and mismanage money. So that's just one thing. Then the erosion of ethics and civics, right? You don't think it's a big deal, but if you do this in every town across America, you know how many towns there are in America? You got the cops doing their own thing. There's nobody to hold them accountable. All of this is demoralizing. All of this is going to have an effect on the United, which is supposed to be the United States of America. But no one is considering these small little things that build up and over time. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. I see Boondocks and Michael Wilbur going at it. Roby says county commissioners are a huge drain. Come on, we can keep on going. Yo, Roby, check this out. I worked for the DOT. Not anymore, because I wouldn't be up here talking crap if I did. The DOT was out here. We renting excavators at $700 an hour. Jacking off. I said, why we don't buy our own? Right? We out here extending projects, working on stuff that don't need to be worked on. $700 for what? This is what I'm saying. Everything is inflated. I know because I've had several contracts, and I know what the contracts look like. I know. First time I went in there and they asked me what's your rates, and I'm ready to say, I done looked it up online. Yo, how much does the average person pay for this and this, that, and the third? I said, oh, okay, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to hit them. I'm going to say $70 an hour. Not even close. If I would have doubled that, I wouldn't even been close. If I would have doubled that, it got to the point where they had to tell me, like, yo, bro, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you this, read this, I'm going to walk out the room, I'm going to come back, and you give me your answer again. Let's try it that way. They sit down, they say, so what's your rate? I said, $350 an hour. They was like, okay, cool. Thank you. Really? Yeah. Michael said it's called cost plus. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So if look. Here's the thing, Mike. Here's the thing. I know what I'm talking about too. If I don't do that, guess what? I might get. First of all, they're not gonna let me do it. I can't be like, oh no, good sir, thank you, but that's too much money. No, good sir. Please, $80 an hour is good. I cannot. They're gonna be like, all right, we'll let you know if you got the contract. We'll email you. We'll mail you. We'll mail you if you got the contract. And I will not get the contract. You know why? You don't know how to play ball, bro. So we're not going down to 80 because of your conscience and you want to stay good with God or whatever we're not going down to $80 an hour because you want to be a good Samaritan. We're not doing none of that. You understand? We'll find somebody with some good sense who wants the $350 an hour. I seen it. I seen it. Trust me. And I'm playing in small scales. I'm playing in small scales, right? So what I'm telling you is everyone's going to be against you. There's no way to really, it's hard to fix that because what I'm talking about transcends race, everything. There's nobody you're going to, it has nothing to do with color, your race, none of that. Because they're all going to tell you, you're bugging and you're stupid and we're going to find somebody else. Doesn't matter if you're white, you're black, they're all going to be like, you're stupid, we're going to find somebody else. You're just cutting yourself out the pie. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. I've been in the meetings. Wallahi, I've been in the meetings. $2 million is at stake. Right? But they don't want to give it to me. Why they don't want to give it to me? They got their reasons they don't want to give it to me. That's not the point. Yo, I come to the meeting with fucking amazing ideas, right? That even the people at the top of state that work with the governors like, yo, Jamel, you got some shit, bro. I'm like, yo, thank you. They was like, yeah, but we are neutral here. We don't give out, we give the money, but we don't tell them who to give the money to. So that's the thing, Jamel. So just go in there, do your thing, bro. But I'm just like, man, I'm very impressed with what you got going on. I said, thank you, man. They shut my shit down to the ground. Bah! Why? First of all, don't think you haven't been a part. Now I'm just letting y'all guys know, right? Why I get shut down. And now remember, the state say we don't got nothing to do with it. We give the money, but once we give the money to the city doing what it wants. The city, if I'm not playing ball, I haven't been playing ball with the city is a small cabal. So if I'm not totally in, you see what I'm saying? So again, it goes back to, like I said, 100,000 people, and 100,000 people ain't shit. And we know that's a small ass number. But I didn't want to just, so if that's 100,000 people mismanaging fucking millions, and we know that 100 is way more than 100,000. So I already named the commissioner, the city, the comptrollers, fucking Department of Transport. We could just go through all the departments, and it's good. You're gonna find so much misuse of money, mismanagement of money. We're not just talking about stealing company time, sleeping in a vehicle, getting a little overtime. We don't even want to go down that route. I don't want to shout people out. I know a motherfucker who, I'm not gonna do it. Nope. All I'm saying is, there's a lot of money being mismanaged. And there's a lot of erosion of our framework, and everyone's just going and doing them. All right, y'all got Michael Wilbur up. Yo, they was hard on Mike today. Boondocks was hard on Mike today. Easy. But he said something. He said GSA. I didn't want to tell y'all. That's where the money's at. Right? And I wish I did have some audience full of young black kids. You know why I do the raunchy? Let me tell you something, because I know you have to be thinking I'm bugging sometimes. I put up content and it be ghetto as hell, right? Or I will cater to the ghetto. Do you know why I do that? I do that because I know who most of y'all are in my comment section. But we preaching to the choir. So we want to educate the younger people, the misinformed, the ignorant, the you know what I'm saying? The wild. That's who you want. So if you ever see me do a video and I'm talking to someone that's rough around the edges, have patience with the show. Have patience with that guest, because you don't know why I'm doing this. I'm not doing this so we can sound good to each other. But if we don't have an ability to give this information to the next generation, and we don't have a channel to communicate with them because we feel we sophisticated and we talk proper and we have degrees and they don't, well, that's alienation. It's hard to have solidarity with alienation. And that's how they win. When we're broken up into silos, they're able to attack those silos. They're able to attack those silos. And then indoctrinate them with these phony baloney groups like Black Lives Matter. So now they run around thinking that, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter really care about me. No, they just use you as a token Negro. So before you get used as a token Negro on some DEI program, how about you come over here, I'll show you, come rock with your boy, right? So never treat these people like the scoundrels of earth because of their situation. Some of them are conditioned to jail and prison, this and that. That's okay. We have to learn how to coexist. Because we got shit going on in our lives too that we ain't perfect either. You understand? So, that's why I would love to talk more to them. Eventually, we'll get there. You said MAGA, America, Israel, and Iran? I don't even know what that means, bro. I don't know how to comment to that. I'm gonna play some music and then I'm gonna get out of here. Michael Wilbur says, you ain't black if you don't vote. Nice one, Mike. Nice one, sir. Yeah, I remember that, Mike. I thought you was out of here. I remember that. I think that's when he still had his cognitive skills and his cognitive abilities, right? He was out here talking reckless when he still had his senses. Huh? Then I don't know what happened. I don't know if they told him like, yo, all right, it's time. Remember that thing we talked about? The classes we had, the acting classes? It's time. It's going down. All right? So, Jill, make sure he... Talk to him, Jill. He knows what he got to do. Oscar De La Yenta. Hello from Israel. Oscar, why did you don't support me? I'm not in support of Israel, Oscar. At all. At all, Oscar. I'm not in support. You got the wrong channel, bro. I don't rock with Israel. I don't believe Israel should be a state, Oscar. You got the wrong one, bro. The wrong one. Hello? Hey, baby. No. Okay. I'm here. All right, babe. Bye. Oscar, Adam says, be careful. Yo, listen to me, bro. I don't believe that Israel should be a state. Israel should be more concerned about the ballistic missiles that's raining down on Tel Aviv right now. Never matter. Don't worry about my little program over here and what I got going on. Israel has bigger situations. Way bigger. He said, you know what they do to Holocaust denial. I never denied the Holocaust. All I did was shine a light on the Khazarian history of the people of Israel. Now, if you want to have a show about that, maybe another day. But I got things to do, to be honest with you. Right? Now, if you want to talk about that, maybe. But I said, in my opinion, y'all did not deserve a state. I'm not going to take that back. Who are y'all? Number one. That's number one. Let's start there. Who are y'all? What? Nope, I don't want to play that. Oscar says you supported me. He says your opinion is absolutely irrelevant. I don't. Okay. Thanks for the taxes, though. Okay. Worry about Tel Aviv, man. That's what I would be worried about. If bombs was dropping from the sky, raining down on my city because of a scam that I thought I got away with. Oh, we fooled the whole world into thinking that we were the true people of Judea. I don't think you fooled them. I don't think you fooled everybody you thought you fooled. But I tell you what, Oscar, if history has shown me anything, is that y'all gonna end up taking an L again. Because that's what y'all good at, taking L's. That's what you're good at. It's right there. That's what you're good at. So if you are going out your way to be a people that took constant L's, which I don't think you are those people, identity theft is a crime, then good luck. Good luck, good luck, good luck. Alright, I think I want to play this song on my way out. It's not the song I wanted to play, but it'll do. Alright, thank you everybody for coming through. Please hit the subscribe button. He said you don't even have money for rent. That's so ignorant. That's off my new album. Listen, Ashkenazis, don't try to gaslight us. We don't have time for your tomfoolery. You could take it to another channel. Just take it. Take your identity stealing nonsense to another channel. No one cares over here. No one. The world is on to you. We've seen your tunnels. Huh? We've seen your tunnels. We've done the state audits. We know who's on the welfare. He's talking about, yo, you can't even pay rent. We know who's using most of the welfare in the United States. I don't have to go on and on because I could just get the data. You understand what I'm saying? So don't worry about what this black man is doing over here. What I'm not doing is stealing anybody's identity, acting as if though I am somebody. That is a mental illness too. For you to participate in such a ruse to the point where you believe your own lies and deception. Like, yeah, no, we are the people. We those people. You are the people who got kicked out of 105 countries several times for the same debauchery and lowliness that you are performing and exhibiting right now. This is what you do. So I don't really, you could catch us the next show. You can miss us the next show. We don't care. We do not care. He said I sound like I'm not talking about America. I am not talking about Americans, right? But I appreciate you guys coming over, trying to throw confusion into the mix. The jig is up. Why would I sound like I hate America? Because I'm talking about the tunnels that your people have built. Why are you digging tunnels anyway? You know what? Keep me out of it. The less I know. The less I know. I don't need to know anything. I don't want to know why you're digging tunnels. I don't know why you're stealing other people's identity. We're good. We're going to end the show. Catch me when I come back. You heard me? That's it. These people are something else.